Hello everybody and welcome back to another video, and welcome back to GTA You Should Know Episode 2. So if you remember 2 weeks ago I released Episode 1, which was when Ill-Gotten Gains Part 1 came out, and that was me comparing all the cars, doing speed tests and turning tests and stuff like that. Well, now Ill-Gotten Gains Part 2 is out. It's added 4 new cars and 1 new motorcycle. So in case you didn't know the names of them and you want to know what I'll be comparing today, is I'll be comparing the Coil Brawler, the Inverto Corket Blackfin, the Prote Gen T20 and the Dinka Vindicator. Now my reason for not doing the Vapuccino is because it's not necessarily an amazingly race car, you know, like a car you would use in a race a lot. I mean, there is better ones within that class that you would use instead. So in case you never watched this before and you don't have a clue what's going to go on, in other words, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a speed test and I'm going to compare that to the other cars within the game. So I'm trying out a new format with this, and if it seems a little bit rushed, it's because I'm trying to keep the time shorter than being it really long, because last time I did go over by quite a lot, so this time we shall not do that. So the way I'm going to be doing these tests is there's going to be a 1 mile drag race in the middle of the map on the main highway. It's literally a straight line apart from a little curve at the end, but I try and keep it a fair test by staying on the middle line. And like I say, I'm only using those 4 cars that I mentioned before, and I have done this before compared to some of the other cars. I think I used the Osiris and I used the Zentorno and stuff like that, so it is a slightly different method that I took this time, but you can maybe still compare them, maybe adding on a second or two, and you'll see why. Okay, so moving on to the race, we've got the T20 up top left, the Brawler up top right, the Corket Blackfin bottom left, and the Vindicator, which is the motorcycle, in the bottom right. Now, like I say, this is just a straight 1 mile drag. It's a simple straight line. Like I say, because I've had to do this over 4 different times, and I'm not using like anyone else in it, and you know, non-contact or whatever, what's happening is I'm holding, from the default start point, I'm holding RT because I was using the controller to keep it fair, and as you can see I was just following the straight line down the middle of the highway. As you can see, I try and keep the car, like the 2 tyres within the middle of it, like the line within the middle of the tyres on each side, and you'll see as we go down, you know, that you can't see the comparisons between the 4. So as you can kind of tell, the T20 is going to win out of all 4 of these races, but the main thing we're after is the actual time. So as you can tell, the T20 won out of these 4 cars. The Brawler came second, the Vindicator came third, and the Corket Blackfin, which is a muscle car, surprisingly, and not a sports classic, actually came last with 41 seconds. So now that we've raised those 4 cars, we can actually take those results and actually compare them to the ones that we did in episode 1. Now, like I said previously, if you watch the episode 1 video and you watch the episode 2 track, you'll notice that the episode 2 track is actually slightly longer, only because on episode 1 I actually followed the left inside track, and on this episode I actually used the middle one. So so for these results I'm gonna minus 1 second off of or plus 1 second onto the episode 1 results, and minus 1 second from this episode's. Now the time difference between those 2 tracks isn't exactly 1 second, but if you wanted to do it properly, you would take every single car, race them 3 times, work out the average, and then compare. Obviously using a fair track, which means, you know, it'd have to be a straight line. So like I say, the results are quite interesting. The Proton T20 actually comes out first with 36.459. The Osiris comes second with 36.687, because remember, we had to minus 1 second from the Pro Gen time. Then the Zentorno, then the Adder, then the Turismo R. So that's the supercar classes done. As you can kind of tell, the Proton T20 and the Osiris, I guess, is kind of quite tied. It comes down to the skill of the driver at the end of the day, I think. And obviously the track, if it's got more turns, if it's got less turns and all that stuff. So if it had more turns, I think the Osiris would actually be quite bad, and the Pro Gen would actually shine there. So moving on, it's obviously the Brawler, then the Vindicator, and then the Blackfin, which actually comes in last. So like I say, they're not exactly perfect. I tried to use the same track as before, but it just wouldn't let me for some reason, and I guess I kind of messed with the results a bit. But I guess you could, if you wanted to do it exactly accurate, you might want to minus, rather than a second, maybe 0.8, 0.9, but like I say, it's just a guess in my head that I've tried to like thought about a lot, and just thought, well, maybe, okay, maybe it's a second, maybe a bit less, but hey. But there you go, it's quite interesting results. Like I say, the Pro Gen T20 and the Osiris, like I say, they're kind of tied for the first place, but like I was saying earlier, it comes down to handling and, you know, the track and all that stuff. If it's a straight line, that's what would shine. So there you go, that's the results. I was quite surprised by it, actually. I thought the Osiris would actually be better than the T20, but apparently not, so there you go. So now guys, hope you enjoyed. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye for now.
Say I am.